Welcome to Secular Soup. Stay tuned for real talk about atheism, feminism, politics, parenting, and whatever the fuck else Amy and Amy want to talk about, because this is their show. And get ready for a whole lot of motherfucking profanity.
You want to hear a secret?
I won't tell anybody. Go ahead. If I sit next to you, I'm going to get gonorrhea. It's going to jump into me. Just two ladies hanging out.
Is it okay for me to make fun of his neck waddle if I make fun of my own neck waddle?
I'm not sure.
That's a real ethical conundrum.
Would you know if you were born a lizard person, or can you be like adopted into the...
I think you know.
We're such professionals.
We really are.
Buckle up, bitches. It's time to have some soup.
I'm Amy with a Y.
And I'm Amy with an I.
And we're just two blueberries floating in a bowl of tomato soup. And I think we're bringing you our 49th episode. Does that sound right?
It's just crazy, isn't it?
That means our next one is 50. That's like a whole year's worth of episodes. And I feel like we should do something to mark it, but I'm also lazy and have no fresh ideas.
We've come so far. We've done so much.
We really have. Well, we're world famous now. I mean, we started out as just two lonely women trying to make it in the world, and now everybody knows who we are. So
yeah, I can't even leave my house without getting mobbed. It's real weird.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I can't leave my house without getting mobbed either, because the cat attacks me. Like, he bit me today when I went to go put on shoes.
What a dick.
I know he's so, it's actually kind of funny. He freaks out when I take a shower. He does not understand showers. It freaks him out. And the other day, gentleman caller was laying on the bed and he was like, "I'll wait for you," because we were going to go out. And I was like, "Let me take a quick shower." Because I actually do take quick showers, unlike, the quote unquote women's standard or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I'm going to jump out real fast. And he like jumped in the shower and he said that the cat came to alert him that I was in danger or distress.
Dude, something's going on. There's water attacking her. Do something.
Because first he tries to step in the shower with me, and then I turn the water on and he runs away, and then he goes and he jumps on him, and then he runs back to the bathroom, and then he runs back and jumps on him. He's like, he was really upset that you were in
Why aren't you doing something about the water murdering her? You're supposed to love her.
She's right there.
Dude, just help. So, yeah, we are late bringing you this episode. Mainly my fault. I suck.
Was rough. I didn't have a car last week because
bad week.
My brand new car that's in my name, I started it at work on Monday and it didn't start. So I had security jump it and it drove home. Actually, it didn't drive home. It drove to my ex-husband's house and I was picking up the kids, and then it didn't start there and it didn't hold a jump, and it was dead in front of his house for a day and a half, which was real classy. So it's just the battery dead, which is fine. But I was fighting with them because I got bumper to bumper coverage, this whole, the whole spiel. Mm-hmm. But they were like, "You're going to have to pay for the tow." I'm like, "Oh no, I've had this car for 11 days. I can just return it for free. You guys can tow it and take it back and give me my money back." And she was like, "Ma'am, we'll tow it to the place and replace the battery." I'm like, "Yeah, you will." Because I basically told her I told her on the phone, I was like, "How mad do you want me to be here? Because I can amp it up accordingly." And she was like, "No, ma'am, I understand." And I was like, "Yeah, I've had the car for 11 days. 12. It was a 12 at the time. I was like, I've had this car for 12 days, 11 of them drivable. So fix it."
Yeah. We started doing as our 17th side hustle. We are now a U-Haul dealership. My husband and I, the place that we do. And we got talked into it by this guy who manages all the U-Haul stuff in the area. And it was honestly, it was something we had been thinking about because we're like, we have a good location, extra money, whatever. And but so we signed up, and when this guy was first talking to us, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to, when you first start doing it, I'm going to be down here for like 3 weeks with you. Just, I'll do all the first rentals you have. I'll be here to go through it." And yeah, fucking lies. That was a lie. So
he's just gone.
My husband and I, we started out with like 3 trailers or something. They all got rented immediately. And this guy, booked it back home as soon as we had to do our first fucking rental. So we're trying to figure out this computer shit. And, the very first customer we get is just a rich dick. Like if you look up rich dick in the dictionary, it's this guy. And he was angry because he thought he was renting the trailer from a different U-Haul dealership and he was sure we were going to fuck everything up. And then he got mad because he found out where we were located and we don't have a tarred parking lot. It's dirt, which that particular day had turned into mud because it's November in Minnesota. And if it warms up one day, it's a whole thing with weather. And I don't pretend to know what it is, but he was angry because he was going to have to drive his $80,000 truck into the mud. And I don't mean like the kind of mud where you see in commercials and there's trucks driving through it and they're having fun. This is just a little bit of moist dirt. Like calm the fuck down, dude. He left us this angry voicemail about how disgusted he was that he was going to have to drive into this dirt and it was just oh my God. So we had to call the U-Haul main guy back and be like, you need to call and deal with this dude because we're not doing it. So then I had to do a hookup by myself yesterday.
Yeah.
I've legit never hooked up a trailer in my whole life. I've just never had to. I have a husband. That's what he's for.
Right. That's what it says on the purchase order.
That's why you have a man around. That's why you get married, because then you don't have to do things like hook up fucking trailers to trucks. But this woman who was the customer was very cool. She's like, you know what? I've rented about 1 million of these. It'll be fine. I know what I'm doing. Don't even worry about it. And I told her, I'm like, you're my first rental. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're going to get through this together. And
right. Solidarity, sister.
Sure enough, it was just a clusterfuck. We couldn't get the thing on the ball hitch and the knobby thing. Of course, my husband had told me prior to this, it's super easy. Like literally, you just pop it right on the thing. It's fine. All you got to do is it's going to be. No, he lied also.
Did he help you?
No, he wasn't there because it was a whole nother thing he had to do that day and help his dad with something. So yeah, so it's just me. The two of us did manage to finally figure it out and get it hooked up. And then I gave her a high five and she was very cool about it. But it was just like, are you fucking kidding me? This is a nightmare. Aww. But yes, I also have, before we launch into our topic, which is actually going to be holiday horror stories and if you should discuss politics with your relatives over the holidays, I have the most amazing, terrible customer service story to tell you.
Oh, yes.
I'm in awe that I witnessed this. It was amazing. So I had to go get my blood drawn this week. Mm-hmm. Just a standard. I have to get it done every 3 months.
Right.
So I went to go get my blood drawn and I'm the last appointment of the day. It was like 4:45. I was the last person they had scheduled. I'm at the clinic. I check in. And as I'm waiting, this woman and an older gentleman come up to the lab desk and I'm going to assume that it was this guy's daughter that was with him. You know, he was probably in his 80s and she was probably in her 60s and she was clearly trying to help him. And she said, yeah, the doctor just sent us down to do some blood work. They said we could come right down. And this 22-year-old chick behind the desk goes, well, they should have sent you with a slip of paper. And the lady's like, no, they didn't. I asked the nurse like 3 times if I needed something. And she said, no, just come down. It would be fine. And this chick goes, yeah, well, I still need a piece of paper. And the lady's like, okay, but she didn't give us anything. And I made sure to ask because I figured once I got down here, you'd want something. And she said, no, it would be fine. And okay, well, I can't do anything without a piece of paper. And so this woman is just like, well, do you think you could maybe call the nurse? She's right upstairs. Like, could you just call the nurse's desk and ask her? And this bitch actually goes, ugh, I mean, I guess. Just like, are you fucking kidding me? So whatever, she calls the nurse. The nurse actually walks the piece of paper downstairs to the lab and they get it sorted out. So then it's my turn to get my blood drawn. So this same chick is drawing my blood. Again, looks like she's probably 22, you know, just seems like a real bitch. So she puts on the tourniquet and I tell her, as I do with anybody who's new to drawing my blood, that I have really bad veins.
Me too.
And like they roll, they're small, they're kind of a nightmare.
Mine too.
So I pointed out.
I have to tell them which vein is good.
Yep. I pointed to the good vein. I'm like, if you can get that one. And before she had even put the needle in my arm, she just
they have to do it on my hand.
Takes a cursory look at my arm and goes, no, your veins are good.
They always say that because they can see it. That doesn't mean it's not going to flip away from you, dude.
Right. And I said, well, I mean, I know you can see them, but I said, sometimes they roll. And she's like, no, they don't. They're good. And I just was like, okay, well, I said, you know, I've been doing this for like 20 years. And every time I have to get an IV done, it's, you know, like 3 or 4 nurses. She's like,
they always try in my arm and then they end up in my hand.
Oh,
I'm like, just start in my fucking hand. Please just start in my hand. It's always a mess.
So she finally just goes, I find that patients oftentimes think that they have bad veins because they've been given bad information over the years. And all I could think was, bitch, I'm a full 20 years older than you and I know my body. Shut the fuck up. Just because someone just trained you to draw blood 10 minutes ago doesn't mean you know anything about my veins. Like, don't tell me that I just wanted to wring her little neck. But then she complimented my leggings and they were really good leggings. So it all worked out. But I was like, I am in awe of what a terrible employee you are. She did. She actually got it in. It was fine, which normally on blood draws, they can get it right away. It's usually not a big deal with blood. It's always the IVs. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was fine, which kind of pissed me off because that just vindicated her belief that my veins were fine. And all of these other veteran nurses over the years had just been lying to me about how bad my veins were.
Jeez. Well, if I'm just the slightest bit dehydrated, like when I was pregnant and I was dehydrated, they would have to have pediatric EMTs come in with the little butterfly needles because they're used to doing little baby veins. That's who had to do my blood when I was dehydrated.
Yeah. They usually have to use the little butterfly needle with me and
on my hand.
Yeah, this bitch was crazy. I was telling my husband about it.
They even looked at my feet before because I was that dehydrated.
Gross. Ugh. Yeah, I was telling my husband,
please don't have to draw blood from my feet. No.
When I got home, my husband's like, I think that's the same bitch that drew my blood the other day. And I was kind of explaining her and he's like, yeah, I think that was her. He's like, she just like launched into my veins and didn't warn me or anything. Just stuck a needle in.
So there's one time I was in the hospital. I was pregnant with, I don't know, one of my millions of kids. And this phlebotomist came in because they had to draw blood because they were checking my ketone levels because I was really... everything was off and my potassium, my ketones, all of that. And so she came in and I was sleeping. So, usually they wake you, oh, honey, I just need to do your blood draw, take your blood pressure, take your temperature. They usually do that kind of stuff because they come in with the MA and they do all the things they need to do. The nurse comes in, gives you medication, whatever. They try to do it all at once. She came in, left the lights out, was really quiet.
Oh, no.
I woke up to her sticking the needle in my arm. She didn't draw it from the IV either. She stuck it in my arm and drew the blood. And I jumped up and she was like, sorry, honey, I just wanted to let you sleep. I'm like, you think I can sleep through that?
Yeah, that seems really unsafe anyway. Like somebody jerks awake while you have a needle in there.
Shocked by that. I mean, she got it, but I was just like, holy shit, that was ballsy. That was over easy. I don't know. It was brave.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, speaking of bodies falling apart,
punching. So
yeah, like that would jolt you awake, and then the needles in your arm. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about how we should talk about holiday horror stories, and I realized that if I told any particular horror stories, I could get in trouble with friends and family. So I did think of a few that just involved myself and being ill on holidays. Yeah. So the one I was thinking about a couple of years ago, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, there was some kind of virus going around. Everybody was getting sick and puking.
We did that. We had the norovirus Thanksgiving. That was fun.
Yeah.
Christmas. Bad. It was a Christmas, but it was fun.
But we usually do Christmas Eve at the in-laws and then Christmas Day at my family's house. So it just so happened that on Christmas Eve, my husband caught whatever it was and had to stay home puking while I took the kids to his parents' house. And then he kind of recovered by the next morning. But by the next morning, I was so violently fucking ill that I made my mom take me to the hospital. And we were, this is supposed to be when we're unwrapping the presents from Santa. And everybody was coming to our house. And I literally looked at my husband and my mom and I'm like, I think I'm dying. You have to take me to the hospital. And they're both trying to tell me, no, it's just what's going around. You're just going to be puking and I'm like, no, take me to the hospital. I'm dying.
Like, literally, I'm dying.
I'm going to fucking die.
There was
so bad.
It was Christmas. My sister-in-law was living with my in-laws at the time. And because my in-laws had this house that was 5 or 6 bedroom. I don't know. It was a massive house. And then my father-in-law's father and mother moved in and they built them a separate apartment that had its own entrance and stuff. And it was off the back of the house. So it added another 2 bedrooms. So it was 7 bedrooms. And after he passed away, the grandpa passed away and the grandma moved, back with one of the other kids. There was this 2-bedroom apartment. And so my sister-in-law and brother-in-law and their 3 kids at the time moved into that apartment for a little while they were looking for a house and stuff. And they were all deathly ill one Christmas Day. And so they didn't come out to festivities or, anything in theory. But then the kids kept running out and touching all of the food, and no one realized it. And so everybody ate like the better than sex cake or whatever, like cake or pies or whatever that they had, because it was Christmas. And so everybody was kind of snacking on stuff. And then, 1 to 2 days later, everyone had norovirus. Everybody.
Oh, God.
And it was because of those fucking kids. They're really cute kids. I actually like them. But they were so sick, and they kept sneaking out and getting like, they would stick their fingers in it and like lick the frosting and stuff, because they were like 5 and 6. They were little.
That's what you do.
It was they're twins. And they would come out and they would just sit there and eat it. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I told my mother-in-law, I was like, cut around the finger marks. And she was like, it's fine. I'm like, okay. So everybody, literally everybody got sick. Everybody got sick. It was miserable.
Oh, God.
It was miserable.
I've spent at least one Thanksgiving in the hospital.
Me too. I spent Thanksgiving in the hospital, and the worst was Halloween, because I was watching. I was on a liquid diet, and I was so sick. I was pregnant with my first son. He was born in February, so Halloween. I was like in the middle stage, leaning towards the last trimester, and I could smell the sweets and treats that the nurses had. And I was watching TV, and it was like Martha Stewart show was on, and they were just making
when you're so
treats,
hungry,
and they're posting all this stuff. And I'm like, can I have more broth than Lorna Doones? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm just miserable.
Yeah. Oh, you can't have Lorna Doones. Those are a luxury if you're on a clear liquid diet. Yeah.
The nurses would sneak them into me because they felt bad for me. Because that was the time I was hospitalized where I'd lost 15 pounds in a week and a half. Because I was so sick.
I once got a nurse to sneak some toast in.
That was hyperemesis gravidum.
Yes.
Because he's always trying to figure out my ailments. That was just hyperemesis gravidum.
Yeah.
Luxurious way of saying I threw up all the time.
Yeah, the one Christmas where I was sick and demanded to be taken to the hospital, my mom did finally take me to the hospital, and they basically pumped a whole shitload of fluids through me, and I felt like $1 million.
They put fluids, and then they give you some Phenergan and Zofran if they have any.
Oh, I felt so much better when I went home. I was just like, thank you. And then I kind of felt bad because my husband had to just stick it out and puke all night and deal with it. I was just a diva, like, no, take me to the hospital, make me better. So yeah, I felt better by the end of the day.
Yeah, but being sick on a holiday is miserable.
I was in the ER on my birthday once. That was fun. Ugh. I had one of those asshole ER doctors who, these are the actual words he said to me. It was on my birthday. He's like, have you ever just tried, because this is when I was having, I think I had a bowel obstruction it was a Crohn's related thing. He's like, have you ever just tried staying home and just dealing with it? And I was like, it's my birthday today. Do you think I really want to be here? Do you think I wouldn't have come here if this weren't my last option? Like,
seriously,
I don't want to be here right now. I have other things I could be doing. I'm not happy to be here. You're being a dick. Like, just, it's my birthday. Yeah, I've spent more than one. I've spent 4th of July in the hospital. That's awesome.
That one's not as bad.
Yeah, I mean, it just sucks in Minnesota because there's so little summer warm time. And if you spend any of it in the hospital, it's just like, I'd rather be in the hospital all winter when it's cold anyway and I'm not doing anything. But apparently my body doesn't like to schedule its illnesses around the weather. I don't know. Yeah. That's part of my problem this week has just been my depression is kicking in big time because this fucking daylight savings time makes it so that it's dark at like 5 p.m. And my brain is just like, okay, we're done for the day. Good. Time to wrap it up. Let's go to bed. It's 5 o'clock. And yeah, it's just a fucking nightmare. Yeah. Anyway, you got any other holiday horror stories?
I have.
Yes.
Let's see. I have a couple. Not horror stories. I'm trying to decide which. I mean, the sickness one.
Discomfort stories. Unpleasant stories.
Okay.
Would that be better?
My very first Thanksgiving away from my family was when I was like 16 years old and I was Mormon and I was very, very, very sheltered. And I went with my friend. She was like, my mom is having Thanksgiving with her boyfriend and some friends and, you're welcome. And I was like, okay. So we went down into like an edgier part of town, which was kind of fun because I liked it. It was kind of fun. It was like the older houses and I liked it. And I liked her boyfriend, and I've known her mom for years, and my friend was there, and it was good. But so her boyfriend was there, and he was a nice guy, and then her boyfriend introduced me to his boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I was very Mormon. It blew my mind. And then his friend showed up, and she was lovely, and she was talking about this guy that she met when she was doing sex work. And like sex, like she did like 911, like adult chat lines. And her and the guy that she met doing that showed up, and they met when he called her frequently, and then they moved in together, and now they're in a relationship. And so they were at the other end of the table, and then she mentioned that she was a trans woman, and I had never even heard of that previously. And so I was like, just
your poor little mind was just blown.
Well, I sat next to them because it was fascinating to me. And so I was asking about how they met and how long they've been together. And okay, the guy. So the guy that met the sex worker looked like someone who played like a friend at the gym in an 80s movie. I don't know how else to describe him. Like he was wearing a lime green mesh shirt, tank top, half shirt.
Got it.
Like spandex leggings that were like like ultraviolet colors kind of. And he had a mullet and a mustache.
Nice. So
I was
we're talking like Slater from Saved by the Bell.
Only lime green.
Yeah.
Like lime green mesh. Sure. I didn't know what to do with this guy. I was like, I don't even know how to process you in my brain. Because if I just seen just him in the store, he alone would have blown my mind.
Right.
But then at the other end of the table, it's my friend's mom and her boyfriend, and they're all over each other. And his boyfriend's sitting right next to him. Like just
so much to process for
your
little Mormon brain.
Blown mind. It's still probably one of the oddest experiences I've ever had, simply because of my feelings in the moment.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
So that was my first Thanksgiving outside of my little Mormon bubble. And I actually really enjoyed it. I had a great time because I thought everybody there was fabulous, and they turned out to be just
sounds like an interesting group of people.
Amazing people. Yeah, it was a great group of people. I learned a lot. My friend and I drove away. We were like, okay, that was interesting. And we just talked about it because it was like it was interesting. And I talked to people and I was really interested in talking to the sex worker because I wanted to know all about her job because I was really interested in something that was completely outside of my norm because I've always been just really interested.
You've always been looking for the next side hustle.
I just always been really interested in things that are completely outside of my realm of understanding. But it was, I wanted to know everything about her. I was just talking to her and I was so fascinated. And she actually pulled me aside and she was like, it doesn't bother you. I think that's what she said. She said that she was like, it doesn't bother you that I'm trans. I was like, no, I didn't even care. I was like, no, I want to know. Tell me about your job. I want to know
your life story.
Yeah. I was like, where did you come from? And you moved down here for him? Tell me about it. I'm so interested. How long did you guys talk on the phone first? What was it about him that drew you to him? And she's like, he's just so funny. He made me laugh. He was amazing. He was so sweet. He's kind. He's generous. I'm like, okay. I'm looking past the lime green mesh shirt, trying real hard.
I would have a hard time looking past the mullet personally, but
it was the combination.
That's just me. Yeah.
It was a package deal. Like he was intentionally 80s, obviously, but I was like, it was really interesting. It was really interesting.
My husband had a mullet in the 80s, and I can't bear to look at pictures of him from before when we met because that mullet was there.
Almost a deal breaker.
I pretend it never happened. So
it's probably the best thing because otherwise you'll smother him in his sleep. I mean, you can't help it.
I will.
You're only human.
That's what you do when somebody has a mullet, right? I thought that was the normal reaction. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have been thinking, I was watching Bill Maher the other night, which I know is a big no-no, and I'll have to do my social justice penance for it, but curiosity got the best of me. I couldn't help it.
Okay.
So I'm watching Bill Maher, and his whole final segment this week was about how we should stop talking politics with people. Like, if you're at Thanksgiving, we should just stop because we never change anyone's mind. And things were way better when people didn't discuss politics and religion. They just talked about other stuff. And I just sat listening to the whole thing going, I know that's a hard disagree. I don't think things were better when we just all pretended like we didn't have opinions on it and kept it to ourselves and didn't discuss it. I feel like that's part of what got us to where we are.
You're trying to express your opinions also, because everyone already knows where they stand.
Right.
I'm trying to have a voice also because I haven't.
Right.
The rare side or the opposition or whatever are the ones that keep quiet. The atheist in the group, the liberal person in the group, they're the ones that keep their mouth shut. Well, the racist, conservative bigot is totally allowed to just run their mouths the entire time. That's not okay.
Well, and then they get to continue thinking that they're the majority.
Everybody that's
and that
quiet is agreeing with them.
Yeah.
Because silence is agreement if you don't say anything. Like you're agreeing. Yeah. So do you have another Thanksgiving? Because I have one that was awkward. But I don't, it's not bad. I don't have any bad Thanksgivings. I had,
no, but I do have
blown
something.
Mormon mind and awkward. That's about it.
I have something slightly related to the, should you discuss religion and politics? Maybe I've told this story on the show. I don't fucking know. You're going to hear it again if I have, but
49 episodes. We're not that interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Many years ago, we had a Thanksgiving where my cousin, the meth addict, I had custody of her 2 kids. And so we were at the Thanksgiving table, and this was probably circa 2003, 2004. So it was right when talk about marriage equality was starting up in earnest. Like, it was a big topic for everybody. So my in-laws were at the in-laws' house, and they're a bit more conservative than my family. And they started talking about how, if gay people want to get married, that's fine, but they shouldn't be allowed to adopt kids. And because that would just, and I wasn't still new to the family, but we'd only been married a few years. And I'm like, I don't know what to say. But my husband went the fuck off.
Good.
He was just like, are you kidding me? He's like, without raising too much of a ruckus in front of the children, but we had these 2 kids with us. He's like, are you telling me that these 2 would be worse off if they were with 2 parents that were the same sex, but who cared about them and loved them? And, their parents, they have a mom and a dad. Their dad's in jail and their mom's in drug treatment. Do you think that's working out swimmingly for them? Because it sure doesn't seem to be. And they really had nothing to say because they knew he was right. No, they knew he was right. Like these kids we only had them because there was nobody else to take care of them, and we didn't want them going into foster care. Their mom had been fucking up for years. Their dad was literally in prison for drug trafficking, but they're a heterosexual couple, so I guess it's all good, right? No, like, fuck that. Just because you're heterosexual doesn't mean you're better parents. That doesn't mean that you love your kids more than somebody. It was just, it was interesting to watch. I just kind of sat there and nodded in agreement, but didn't really say anything while he just went off on his parents. And
good.
I was very proud of him in that moment. So
I would be too. That's something that really always bothered me about my ex-husband is his parents would say shitty things to me or about me right there, like right in front of me. And he never said anything. And so we get in the car. I'm like, why didn't you say anything when your dad said XYZ to me? And he was like, well, I figured you could hold your own. I'm like, I shouldn't have to. When I'm at your parents' house, you say something to them.
Yeah. Part of the reason I'm so pro talking about controversial things is that over the years, it's been 17, 18 years since we've been together now. And his parents, when I first met them, were very, very anti-gay, just probably as much as you can be. And over the years, I personally have had a lot of conversations, especially with his mom, just about, not in a threatening or attacking way. But we've talked about and I've given very gentle pushback over the years. Like, well, what about this? And what about that? Or, I've talked about my friends who are gay and just like said things to her like, but how, if they can get married, how does that affect you? How does that make your life worse at all? It really doesn't. And, the more I think we've talked about this over the years, kind of the softer their stance has become.
Well, yeah, it's like my dad, he's like, I don't believe in gay marriage. I'm like, then don't get gay married.
Yeah. Problem solved, I don't think they're about to go out to a gay bar, but at the same time, they've finally kind of at least come to the stance that, well, it's not hurting them and it's really nobody's business and whatever. Like Which isn't a perfect stance, but it's certainly better than where they were 17 years ago. And without having any of those conversations and just sitting back and saying, well, people believe what they believe. What are you going to do? Then you're not helping make anything better.
Well, my awkward Thanksgiving. So we left the church.
Wait. There was a more awkward Thanksgiving than the one you just talked about?
Well, that's the one that blew my mind. Actually, that one wasn't awkward. It was just my poor little Mormon brain was like, I'd never been exposed to polyamory. I had never been exposed to, I had gay friends, lots of gay friends in high school because they're my people, honestly. Yeah. But I had never met grown adult gay people.
Yeah.
So.
Or trans people or sex.
Yeah. And that was my first, exactly. That was my first trans woman that I'd met. It was my first sex worker that I'd met and talked to.
First guy with a mullet?
I mean, I grew up in the 80s. The first guy I saw his nipples through his shirt during Thanksgiving meal. I mean, that was kind of unsettling to me.
Yeah. I don't like nipples. I
don't mind nipples. I have a couple. But, I mean, it's whatever. But being able to see it while I'm eating turkey and potatoes, I don't know. I'm not really a fan.
Not the best.
It was weird, but it wasn't bad. So the next one, this one was a couple years ago. So I left the church in November 5 years ago. So this marks 5 years that I left Mormonism. And it was around Thanksgiving-ish, but we didn't say anything about it. We just went to Thanksgiving with my former in-laws and kept it quiet. And we only saw my in-laws a couple times a year, holidays, birthday parties. It wasn't a big deal. Roll around to the next Thanksgiving, and it's being hosted at my ex-husband's aunt's house. And so we're at the aunt's house, and we told the kids, we were like, look, it's not a secret that we don't go to church anymore, but let's just not talk about it because they don't know, and we don't really want to make it about us or that at Thanksgiving. And they were like, oh, okay. My then 11-year-old was walking around the house, and because we were like, look, we don't want your papa to know, because my husband's dad is like a Mormon bishop and he's really religious, and my ex-husband was the last of his siblings to be in the church, so him leaving would mean all of his kids have left the church. So he's walking around, and my son is eating cookies or pie or I don't know, shoving his face, and he was like, yeah, we don't go to church anymore, but we're not going to tell papa. We don't go to church anymore, but we're not going to tell papa. Like, he's walking around the house. I overheard him probably about 4 times. My sister-in-laws came to me, and they were like, he's talking about this nonstop. And then there was one point I heard him say that, and his grandfather's standing like a foot away from him, like standing there just staring at him. And I'm like, dude. And I heard him say, it's not that we're not going to tell him. It's that we don't want to hurt his feelings because religion's so important to him, and we just don't care about it anymore, and that'll hurt his feelings. Like, he's explaining. I'm like, oh my god. And I mean, what are you going to say? Like, the entire family has overheard my son say that. Because he's walking through the house, like weaving through the tables and just chatting and eating. Yeah. That's his running commentary the entire time. I'm like, oh my God. So we had a hard conversation the next day where they're like, hey, so your kid was
blabbing everywhere.
Things. And we're like, oh yeah. So then the next day, we always did something Black Friday the next day. That year we went to see A Christmas Carol at one of the local, little downtown theaters. And it was cute. It was done by the local youth, like the Young Actors Guild or whatever. And so it was a good production. It was fun. The Christmas Carol's always so long, though. I'm over it like halfway through it. But so we're sitting there, and then the grandparents volunteered. And then there's a tree lighting downtown. And so the grandparents were like, we'll take the kids back. And my kids were like, so Papa was like, so here's a church building. Do you guys go anymore? And my youngest, who was because he's pumping in for information at this point. So my youngest was maybe 4 or something. And she was like, no, we don't go to church, Papa. We haven't gone to church for a long, long time. And because, I mean, we talked to him later and they were like, you said it wasn't a secret. We're like, yeah, you're right. It's not a secret because I don't want them to think that there's anything shameful or wrong or secretive about it. But it's also not something you want to say at holidays.
It's hard to explain to kids stuff like that, too.
It's like, how do you explain social constructs? And like, you can't really explain it. And so we just kind of let it slide. And we were like, yeah, guess what? That happened.
Oh my God. Yeah, we've never been religious.
I mean, we've never actually discussed it. So, I mean, it never came up.
We've never had to deal with it that much. Just that I remember one holiday where my older son, he was little and he was looking at the nativity set at the in-laws and he's like, ooh, who's that? And my sister-in-law got super excited because she could run over and explain to him who all the people in the nativity set were. And I just let her run with it because it made her very happy.
I mean, I have nativity sets.
Jesus, and that's Mary. And
we've talked about this before. I have a really big nativity set that I put on. I have this high counter in my kitchen and I have this really big one that I might not do it this year because I'm lazy as fuck right now. But sometimes I do. Like I put it all the way up and I have like a really pretty one. I have the willow tree one.
Oh, yeah.
It's really pretty. And then I have one that my mother-in-law made that's wooden and has like felt on it for the kids to play with. And it's fine. Like I put them out and one of my friends, my atheist friends came over and they were like, why do you have all this stuff out? And I was like, I put bunnies up. I put Santa up. You know, to me, it's exactly the same. I've never told them since leaving. Even before, I don't think I ever told them that it was real because I never really actually believed it was legitimately real. But I've never tell them that these are real people and this is the true story or the true meaning. I've never told them that. I just put it up because it's Christmas and it's, I mean, I also have penguins up. I don't believe there's penguins that are going to come to my house.
Well, there are. So watch out.
I mean, penguins are real though. So
that's true. My younger son, just this year,
I don't
finally
believe
figured out there's no Santa
because I've never actually seen a snowman.
This fits in perfectly. So my 8-year-old today, he figured out this year that there's no Santa. We finally were like, no, there's no Santa, dude. Yeah. So today we're putting up the Christmas tree.
Such a relief.
I know it's before Thanksgiving, but we were putting up the Christmas tree anyway. It's a long
Gentleman
story.
caller won't let me until after Thanksgiving. I'm real upset at him.
The problem is we're not going to be here on Thanksgiving. We have to go to the in-laws. I have to work Friday and Saturday. And then on Sunday, my entire family's coming over here for second Thanksgiving. And I just want to have it done by then. So I'm like, fuck it. We're doing it today. And so my 8-year-old now with his newfound, there is no Santa knowledge. We were putting up all these ornaments and he's like, Mom, there's no Santa. I'm like, yeah, I know. And he's like, but Santa's fun. It's fun to pretend there's a Santa. I'm like, yeah, it is. And he's like, I'm going to ask you some yes or no questions. I'm like, okay. He goes, is Santa real? And I'm like, no. And he goes, can snowmen come to life? I'm like, no. Is snow real? I'm just like, dude, there's snow outside. The snow is real. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure snow is a real thing. But no, snowmen cannot come to life. That's not a thing. No, there's no Santa, but yes, snow is real. And why are you asking me these questions? He's such a strange child. I don't know. He said something about how he was going to tell his older brother there was no Santa. And he's like, he probably knows, huh? I'm like, yeah, your brother knows there's no Santa. Right. And I said, but just try telling him tomorrow. Be like, hey, did you know there's no Santa? And see if it just blows his mind. And he thought that was the funniest thing ever. So we'll see if that happens. But yeah, I was working on putting the tree up and realized every fucking string of lights I own is broken, which means the tree is up, but the lights aren't on it. But I couldn't get my 8-year-old to wait to put the ornaments on. So now the ornaments are up, but I'm going to have to go get lights, put them on around the ornaments. It's going to be a whole fucking thing. I'm just over it. I also spent a large chunk of the day throwing away Christmas shit I don't want anymore because I'm lazy. I used to decorate the entire house. Now I'm just like, fuck it. The tree's up. Good enough.
I did that last year. I didn't put any ornaments on it. I just put my tree up.
Yeah. Well, I got to put the ornaments on it, but
Well, I'm going to let my kids do that.
Extraneous decorating.
I haven't done any of that.
We do have a nativity set, but it's got Batman and the flying spaghetti monster on it.
Oh,
and
that's fantastic.
Haven't put that up yet. But yeah, usually I have like little just decorative things I put all over the house. And this year I'm like, nah, fuck it. Trees.
I usually do too. And I'm trying really hard. We're actually purging the house because.
Like killing your children?
I wish. No, I'm kidding. I don't wish. Actually. I love my kids. They're like the best things ever. No, when my ex moved out, he took like a bag of shirts and basically a couch and a bed. So I've talked about this before. Right. Of 18 years worth of we've moved with this box 7 times. Shit. You know? So my boyfriend and I are going through room by room and just kind of like purging stuff, just all of the stuff, because it's ridiculous how much crap I have. I have 3 glue guns. Why the fuck do I have 3 glue guns?
Nobody needs.
And like random stuff. Like he was in the office the other day and he was like, "You have a laminator?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have a laminator." And he was like, "Why the fuck do you have a laminator?" I'm like, I don't know.
I laminate a lot. Yeah.
I don't know why I have these things. I just have.
Okay, I have a laminator, but full disclosure, I have it because at my old job, I used to laminate things for work. And then when I left, I just took it with me because it's one of those tiny little laminators. And now at work, sometimes I have to. So it's purely a work thing. I laminate things at work. But yeah, for household use, I can't imagine what you'd ever really need to laminate. It's not.
So then I have name a kitchen gadget thing. I probably have at least one of them. And I didn't. Yeah, I have 2.
Corkscrew.
So, please.
Yeah. You got like 15
Not a necessity. Not a necessity. I have 2 of those. Yeah. No. Like I have a quesadilla maker, a panini maker, a Belgian waffle maker, a deep fryer. And it's not, I didn't buy any of these things because I don't care about that shit. Like I don't do that stuff. I don't care. But I have so much stuff like that. Like it's just random.
I did that a few years ago where I went through my kitchen and was like, I don't need half this shit. You don't need any of it.
I don't need any of that stuff. I don't know. Actually, I think he took the deep fryer. I haven't been able to find it, so I'm pretty sure that's what he took. Because,
I refuse to own a deep fryer because I just feel like
I never used it.
There's really nothing I need to deep fry.
He's trying. It's funny. Okay, this is horrible. I'm a horrible person. I've lost 55 pounds in the past year. He's gained probably like 60.
Because he's deep frying everything.
I know. So the only thing he took from the kitchen was the deep fryer. But the kids are telling me, they're like, "Dad's on a diet?" And I saw him a couple weeks ago and he's growing a goatee. And I'm just like, he hasn't lost any weight. And he's the only thing he took from the kitchen was the deep fryer. It made me chuckle when I couldn't find the deep fryer. And I realized that he took the deep fryer. And I'm like, but you want to lose. Okay, whatever. Have fun. Yeah. Like you do.
Speaking of which, this is not speaking of anything other than aging badly, but I've been I've been catching up on Teen Mom OG and Bristol Palin is on it now, which means Sarah Palin is on it. That lady,
good God,
needs to lay off the Botox. And I know it's bad to body shame and to shame women for doing the things they want to do to keep up with looking youthful, but I also really hate Sarah Palin. So yeah, I watch her on the show and I just think, why? What's your deal? She makes Bristol Palin look like a really highly intelligent person, and that's saying something. So anyway, Teen Mom OG, everybody watch it. Yeah. Bristol's in a horrible marriage with this guy who's just kind of a dick, but he's like a Medal of Freedom award recipient. So I guess that makes everything worth it. And anyway, not going to talk about Teen Mom, not going off on a tangent. So should we wrap this up? Because we're both tired as fuck. It's been a long week.
I am still trying to eat a sandwich that I got from Walmart. That's how, that's how my day's been. I'm eating a sandwich from Walmart.
And then I might have some pork rinds
too.
Yeah, you guys will be lucky if you get any more episodes this winter out of me. So,
well, then I'll just replace you. It's fine.
It's fine. You're good on your own. People like you. If I disappear for like 2 months, don't be alarmed. It's just me hibernating. So
like, she's cold. You don't even know.
I'm such a baby. Okay. So, before we wrap it up though,
I have to tell you, so the chick at work, I did finally just tell her about the podcast because I'm like, whatever. Yeah. I told her. Yeah. And so she's been listening But the first one she did was the sacrilege. And she was like, where the other Amy was wearing the pajamas. I'm like, oh my gosh.
No.
That was the first episode. I'm like, that's brilliant. Your pajamas, your jewelry, and your crown.
I looked really good though. I mean, you gotta admit.
So she was like, that was her first one. And she was like, so is it always video? I'm like, no, it's not always video. But it was really funny that was her first impression of us.
Yeah.
Was
because we're tuned all the way up on that one. So
pretty sure I was drinking, which is weird for me. And
I'm in a full bunny pajama costume with a tiara and a diamond necklace.
Jewelry from your wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really good jewelry. I hate that I only got to wear it once. So,
I get it. Yeah, that was
us at peak volume.
I don't know. The Dumb All Over pods probably are.
That's true. You were definitely at peak volume on that one. So,
yeah,
but that's because you were drinking and I wasn't.
You should hear that one. Yeah, I was like,
that was a good one though. That was funny.
It was a good one actually. It was real funny.
Oh, speaking of which,
listen to it because I was drunk. Yes.
Before I do the patrons, we need to plug the podcast that you just finished recording, so people will find you on.
Like a little over like an hour or so ago. It was
the Free Thought Prophet,
and it's James and
you're the worst, Amy.
I don't remember their names. It's from
two dudes,
from
right?
Ireland. Two dudes.
Two dudes.
White-ish.
Mm-hmm. Two white dudes.
Guys. Two white dudes. It's terrible. I'm like, yeah. You know the white guy?
They're all the same. Those white guys that do podcasts.
Right.
Yeah, the white guy that does the atheist podcast.
I had a really fun time. We talked about my Mormonism, leaving Mormonism history, Brigham Young, Joseph Smith. You know, we talked about all of that. So it was good. It was good. And his co-host is in Ireland. It's James is in the States and his co-host is in Ireland. So it was really sweet. It was interesting.
I noticed when I looked up their feed that my pal Justin just recorded with them too. So if you check out their thing,
they said they were talked to a former Seventh-day Adventist. I didn't know it was him.
That's Justin. That's the guy we talked to on episode 7? I don't remember. Way back in the early episodes, you'll find my friend Justin, who's former Seventh-day Adventist. We interviewed him first, and I'm sure our interview was better than theirs just because that's how this works.
Right.
Yeah. Dig in for another podcast viewed. So anyway, check out the Free Thought Prophet and find the delightful Amy with an I very soon.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good interview.
All right, patrons.
I purposely had us record afterwards in case it was a bad interview, and I would be like,
and then we could talk shit about them. Yeah,
right, exactly.
Because we're good at talking shit. That's our whole thing. If you would like to support our talking shit, and why wouldn't you? You should join us on Patreon, patreon.com/secularsoup, and you will get a shout out like these fine patrons. We've got the By Any Means podcast, Wendy, encyclopediadumbamerica.com, Jesse, Ryan, the Dumb All Over podcast, Liz Satan, John, and Freethinker 215. We have also got Sarah and Sarah, the two Sarahs, Verlaine, Andy, Rebecca, Kimberly, and Nathan Dickey of the Leaf of Doubt podcast. I'm really tired. My words are slurring. I'm not drunk. I'm just really fucking tired. We've also got, let's see, at our $4 level, we've got Elvin Engineer. I hope you finally got that mug I sent you. Since I sent you the wrong one, now I sent you the right one. I hope it's there in one piece. If it's not, don't tell me because I can't bear the disappointment. $5 a month level, we've got Dr. Dylan Medical Detective, still working on figuring out what all of Amy's ailments are. We've also got Marissa Alexa McCool, Amy's boring sister. Yes, Jerry and Alan, you guys are awesome. At the $10 a month level, where you get your own personalized dick drawn on it if you want Soup Bowl. We've got Larry Yellingman, who, if you haven't listened to his episode with Steve Shives and Ari and Michael and what is her name from the Biskeptical podcast? I'm drawing a blank. Morgan Stringer. So he did an episode with those. Michael basically pod crashed. He just showed up with Ari.
Because he and Ari were hanging out.
Right. So, but it was a pretty fucking funny episode. So
that's what he told me. He was like, I was hanging out with Ari already. And I just asked them, like, hey, can I hang out too? And
it turned out real funny. I enjoyed it. So
I haven't listened to that one.
It was pretty good. It's not as good as the episodes with us on them, but that should go without saying. So okay, $10 a month. We've also got Randall and my third favorite, Rich. Happy Thanksgiving, Rich. That's your gift. You're my third favorite.
My name on the card too.
Now we come to our top donors, as usual. I have a treat for you. It looks like our top donor has changed their patron name yet again.
Oh, God.
They are now called Eating Cereal from Soup Bowls Triggers the Snowflakes. That's their new name on Patreon. That's those fuckers of the Wayward Willis podcast that are now pledging $20.01 a month just so they can be our top patron, but I'll take it. It's fine. We still love Ashley more. Ashley's our other top patron. She's still going to be our favorite no matter what. I mean, we like that extra penny, but Ashley's still better than you guys. So sorry, Wayward Willis. Don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's our patrons. If you become a patron, we will love you forever. And if we get to 50 patrons, we will do the live drunk cast part 2. Somebody asked me if we would do it if we got back down to 25 patrons. And I had to explain that's not how that works. No, we're not doing another drunk cast at 25. It has to go up to 50 and then we'll do it. So,
all right. I'm
like
looking
our
up
YouTube
dirty
page
things to add to the things to buy with the monies, but I don't really actually say it.
Hairspray for a mullet.
Dude, I'm on YouTube. I'm on Urban Dictionary. This
Lime
is getting
green
dark.
shirt with mesh.
No, on Urban Dictionary, turfucking.
Oh yeah, don't look up stuff
happening.
on that. No.
So you put a turkey inside a duck stuffed with a penis.
Oh, yeah, that sounds gross.
There's other things. I'm not going to say that.
You're going to go into a rabbit hole with that. Be careful.
Yeah. Urban Dictionary rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm. And we want people to have a nice Thanksgiving and enjoy their dinner and not be
to not fuck their
nauseous
dinner
the whole time. Yeah. Or fuck their dinner.
Sorry. I took it a different
I feel like that's frowned upon at the table with all the kids and your parents, and you really shouldn't fuck your dinner. It's just not cool.
Don't play with your food.
That's our advice.
Sorry, that was
people.
Wow. God.
Oh man, we need sleep.
That's all we've got for now. Thanks to all our fabulous listeners who put up with us droning on week after week. If you enjoy our delightful bitchcraft, please like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and send us all your monies on Patreon. You can find us on those platforms by using the Google machine. It's not hard. This week, your donations will go to Brainwash. Can you do that? Like where we can mentally wash the last 3 minutes from our brain? Okay, cool.
I mean, I'm really counting on it.
Okay, good. I mean, whiskey works. So I'll try that.
Whatever.
If you want to tell the world how awful this episode was, join our secret Soup Talk Facebook group. If you want to tell us to fuck off personally, you can send an email to secularsouppodcast@gmail.com. Please rate and review us on iTunes, Facebook, and wherever else you can review things like this. It will help spread the soup gospel far and wide. And hey, tell your friends. As always, we'll leave you with the vocal stylings of Mr. Eli Bosnick.
Secular Soup Creed. Soup is the ultimate virtue. It's delicious, nutritious, patriarchy smashing, racism fighting, warm and fuzzy, human affirming, fun having, anti-theist, glitter throwing, tummy satisfying, pair of new shoes fulfilling, diversity seeking, happiness. Minestrone, beef and barley, chicken broth and split pea, gazpacho, tomato, clam chowder and potato, chicken noodle, beef noodle, egg drop and ramen cup, miso, gumbo, leek and pho. Grab a bowl and taste the magic. Slurp even this.